Hello and welcome. In this exciting episode, we apparently travel back to the 1980s.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
So I really like that red dress, the one on the right, that I made a few days ago, last week. And so I thought I wanted to make another one, but I also have this Vogue pattern, Vogue 1704. The sleeves on this, I've been wanting to try them out for ages, ever since I bought it. So I thought I'd combine them with hilarious results. It looks like a 1980s prom dress. I know that, but it only looks like that once it's made. For the whole of the way making it, it didn't look like that, I promise. So I started with the sleeves. So there's like a big section which is the main bulk of the sleeves, and then there's this little bit which is the top section, and you sort of join the two together. Here is the line art from the Something Delightful website where you can buy the patterns. So as you can see, the upper sleeve is much smaller, and then the bulk of the sleeve is the lower sleeve. So the upper sleeve has darts that you have to put in, and the lower sleeve has pleats. And I think if I do it again, then I won't put them in first. I'll just sew the line that joins the two bits, and then I prefer to do my pleats as I'm putting setting the sleeve. I prefer to do it that way, just because I set sleeves so much. It's I find it easier that way. But anyway, so first time I'm doing it, I did it how they told me to. So I put in the darts, put in the pleats, measured them, sewed them. Then the next thing you do is you pin the upper and the lower part of each sleeve together, and you pin them wrong sides facing, because you're going to do a French seam. In general, I don't like French seams, but this is a structural one, not a cosmetic one. So I'm fine with that. So you join them together, and then you sew a really, really narrow seam allowance around the edge, and then you turn it out, and you make sure it's fully turned out, and you sort of have to poke it in to make sure it's right. And then once the seam's inside, then you sort of pin it that way, and then you carefully sew over it so that the seam is encased. And it just basically strengthens that area of the sleeve so it puffs out more. And there we go, I've sewn it. And now again, you have to turn it out, and you sort of you can either just iron it into shape, or I just sort of pressed the seam from the opposite side and sort of made sure that it was fully out. Then I sewed together the sleeve at the side seams, and then pinned back the seam allowance and turned up the cuffs, turned them up twice, and then I hand stitched all that down. And here we go, ta-da, the finished sleeves. Now I just have to make the rest of the dress so I can pin them on. So first I sewed together the bodice bits, the front and the back. The back used to be on the actual pattern, the Butterick 6677, it's 2 back pieces, but I just cut it on the folds and didn't have the seam allowance. And I also just sort of scoop the neckline down a little bit so my head fits through. So that way it's just less work. I don't have to sew a button on the back. So now once I finish the bodice, then I was going to sew that to the first tier of the skirt. And here we have the second and third tier of the skirt. So I'm going to do these as one bit as well. So the second tier of the skirt is 2 full widths of the fabric at about 10 inches, and then the third tier is 4 full widths of the fabric, salvage to salvage, and that's about twice as big wide. And then I just pinned them together, and and I pleated them together. So I pinned them together at the quarters, and then I did the half and half method. So I halved it and then halved it again. And then once each sort of pin distance was small enough, then I made it into a box pleat and pinned that down and just kept going rounds until they were all done. And then and then I machine sewed it, and then I machine sewed it again just so it's strong to reinforce it. And then I did the bodice and the first tier together, and so this is the bodice, and I just pinned the first tier to it. And yeah, that's pretty simple. There's no pleating involved there. So once I machine sewn them together, then I went around again and reinforced it, and then I turned it out, and ta-da, it's looking pretty fabulous. I really quite like it without the sleeves. So once I'd done that, then I got the lining bodice that I prepared earlier, and I sewed them together right sides facing each other, and I just pinned them together around the neckline, and then I sewed it, and then I clipped the curves, so basically clipped all the way around so that it would sit nice and flat once I turned them out. And then I turned it out. Obviously, you have to turn it inside out and pin the lining up and hand stitch that into place, but I don't have footage of that. So then the next thing you have to do is pin the sleeves to the bodice. And yeah, we are on the home straight, well, almost. So yeah, just a reminder, it's just the bodice and the top tier in this section here. I still haven't sewn on tier 2 and tier 3. So I pinned the sleeves, set the sleeves, pinned them into place, and then and then I machine sewed them, and then I turned them out. And then the next thing, so yeah, you can do the turning up the lining at that point. And then the next thing to do, basically you just have to do the hand sewing on the inside before you add all the full length of the skirts. Otherwise, it's just really, really cumbersome, which is, the way I did it when I made the red dress. So then the next thing is you have to sew the last 2 tiers onto the first tier. So again, it's just involved pinning the 2 side seams, and then halve, and then quarter, and then halving it, and then turning those into box pleats, and then just reinforcing it and finishing them. And then here it is, ta-da! It's so 1980s. It looks like a prom dress in those 1980s movies. Oh, I wish I could use music, but you can't if you don't, because there's copyright rules. But apparently these are real real sewing patterns and dresses from the 1980s. I was thinking of the movie version of the 1980s, I guess, not the real 1980s, which I don't really have much of a clue about. But anyway, puffy sleeves, hugely puffy. I think I might take the sleeves off. They're a little bit extra. I think I'll wear it I'll wear it, for the next few weeks. And oh my God, this would be hilarious as a New Year's Eve dress. But and just like with a gold sash or something instead. So that's the red one that I absolutely love. And it's got a really heavy, beautiful skirt. And it sort of works, it moves like a denim skirt. It's really lovely. And I love the skirt of this blue one. If I took the top off, I would happily, and this is me I pinned the sleeves down to see if they looked a little better like that. They don't. They sort of look like a capelet or something. So I sort of just hoik the shoulder, the puff up, and pinned it to the top of the shoulder to bring the whole thing in a little. And I mean, it looks interesting, but I like it better off to the side a bit. But yeah, it looks different than the picture to me. So this is the line art. And I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, the bulk is a little like, it feels like it's got more gravity than mine. Mine is sort of puffs, whereas this, I guess it is the fabric. Like I've used a cotton, and they've used something a little slinkier, like yeah, so I guess maybe that's it. I should try it. Next month I've got a couple of rayon linen blends, so maybe I'll try it again in that sort of fabric, because I think that would look very, very different and it would look more sophisticated. Whereas, yeah, if I need to time travel back into the 1980s, I think this is the dress I will wear, because, yeah, they were really into pastels. Oh, look, there's a yellow one. Anyway, so yeah, I actually really like this dress. I think maybe I'll put red bows on the shoulders. Maybe that's because I think it's a little plain on the top, because those sleeves are so extra. I think they just need a little something. I have some beautiful Czechoslovakian cut glass beads that are red, so maybe I could make one of those really intricate necklaces. Anyway, there you go. I have made another Butterick B6677 with those Vogue sleeves from Vogue 1704, and yeah, they are pretty fabulous. But yeah, and I used up my beautiful baby blue fabric with the vintage Christmas baubles on it, which is awesome. I love this fabric. I think, yeah, I'll just wear it like this for this season. Then I think, so that I can wear it all year round, I'll just pull it apart and make the skirt part a skirt, and the top sort of more like a singlet top, and the sleeves I'll probably, I don't know, I might just pull them apart and use them. I want to make a patchwork dress or skirt out of all the offcuts of my Christmas fabrics. So, yeah, I might recycle it into that. But, yeah, I'll get a few wears out of it first, because it's so much fun and I might end up really liking it. So, I guess it's just so different from anything else I have in my wardrobe. But I guess I have a couple of jackets with puffy sleeves. I didn't think of that. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and go make yourself an extra, totally over the top Christmas dress, because they are fabulous and so much fun.